What secret do your parents think they are keeping from you? My sister was mom's favorite, but I'm my dad's favorite. My brother ranks a close second place with both. My mom passed away 10 years ago, the night before she sent both me and my brother a message saying she loved us. My dad says she passed in her sleep, but I'm convinced it was a suicide. I don't think he can accept that information. My dad died of an overdose and not just complications. I was very young when he broke his neck and he was a quadriplegic for all the time that I knew him that I can remember. The night before he died he called me, probably about 10-11 years old, into his room and told me that he was in pain and needed his pain pills. Because he was a quadriplegic he was unable to get out of bed or do many things on his own, so he asked me to get the medicine out of the kitchen for him. I was young and innocent, so I did it. I brought the pill bottle to him and I remember him taking them all. He told me he loved me and that he was proud of me and that he knew that I was surely destined for great things. I didn't understand why he was telling me all these things at the time, but I listened and then went to bed. The last time I ever saw him was the next morning, as he was carted down the hallway of our house on a stretcher by the paramedics. He died that day in the hospital. They always told me it was as a complication of his condition, and I semi-accepted it for a long time. It was only in the past few years that I put the pieces together and realized what had really happened. I had assisted my dad in committing suicide all those years ago. No matter what my family says, I'm sure of it. I've never talked to them about it, but I struggle with the thought to this day. Apparently, I had an older brother who supposedly passed away very young. I found out one day when my grandmother let it slip out. I don't want to ask them about it because I'm sure it's a very sensitive topic. Edit. Apparently he passed before I was born. I think one of my dads are gay. My grandmother died recently and told us on her deathbed that she is a Jew who escaped the Holocaust. We knew she came from the Netherlands but never told anyone about her life before she started a new life in the US. Raised my mom and aunt as Christians to avoid them being ridiculed or targeted in ways she feared were possible after seeing what Hitler managed to pull off. My little brother's first response was, "Does this mean we're rich?" My dad and brother told me the reason why my dog died after being attacked by his dad's dog was that I didn't leave the car with a tank full of gas, so they had to stop for gas on their way to the vet. And they lost so much time because of that my dog didn't make it. The truth is that my dog made it to the vet and the vet said she'd be okay, but it would be about $500 for the bill, so they told the vet to just put her down cause they couldn't pay. I could have paid the bill if they had told me. My dad doesn't know that my mom shares everything with me, including the fact that when my grandma was young, she was a single mother of 2 young boys. She married a much older man so that when he passed away, she'd inherit all of his belongings. I think my father contemplates ending his life more than ever. His wife, my mother, has been gone for 2 years now. He's lived a long and hard life at 60, raising 6 kids at once before, where only one was his, was hard. Adopting his granddaughter, me, must have been hard when he realized how ducked up his only daughter who talked to him was. Most importantly, it must have absolutely killed him inside to lose my mother as we all watched her slowly kill herself with alcohol. He never will forgive himself even if it wasn't at all his fault. That must be the hardest. My dad had a folder on his computer titled Rigid Wet Vac Instructions. It was full of feet pictures. I know the plastic tub I was told never to touch when I was a kid was full of 6 toys. I may or may not have opened it out of curiosity when I was 7 or 8, so I would guess they're 6 lives. I'm pretty sure my father's having an affair. I'm equally sure my mother doesn't care. Just found my mom's weed closet, not weed stash. She has a whole ducking plant set up in there, complete with carbon filter. I'm assuming it was not the closet she meant when I asked if she had some of my old ties. My mom thinks we believe she quit smoking about 8 years ago, but we know what she's doing when she goes to get a soda at the gas station or when she takes the dog out. My dad is a baby boomer. He was a hippie child and to this day still dabbles in recreational drug use. It's so funny because he is such a family man, runs a successful business, and, in many ways, is your everyday stereotypical suburban dad. You would never expect it. He only does things like LSD or shrooms on special occasions. But he does smoke weed much more regularly. I first found his weed stash when I was 11. When I was 21 he admitted to me that he smokes weed every once in a while and wanted to know if I was interested in smoking a joint with him. I think it was some sort of big milestone moment for him in our relationship. So I didn't have the heart to tell him I'd known for about 10 years at that point. Dad's Reddit account. Though I wouldn't be too surprised if he knew mine too. I'm convinced that I'm retarded or autistic and my entire family is keeping it a secret from me. My parents have been divorced over a decade. It didn't happen until all the kids had completed school and moved out. They each have found someone else and are happy with their new life as far as I can tell. Neither one ever said anything to me about the divorce. My mom said she was going to have her tubes tied but actually went and got an abortion. Pops knocked up a Mormon girl before he met my mom. He was ready to step up and be a dad, but her family was pissed. They cut off all contact to him and moved far away. I found out one Thanksgiving while hanging out with the cool uncle who brought tequila and weed. My dad has always been a serial cheater on my mother and then on my stepmother who he was married to for most of my life. She divorced him and we knew something bad happened but didn't know what. He died in 2016 and as the power of attorney I was going through all his financial stuff. Sure enough, court ordered child support payments since 2007. I found out later he knocked up a woman who was also married. He terminated his parental rights. I don't know if he knew this, but the child has Down syndrome. He looks a bit like my dad and from the looks of this woman's Facebook profile, her and her family are very happy and the kid is so cute. That my dad repeatedly cheating on my mom with women he worked with was a big part of what led to their divorce. My mom never brought that up because I think she wanted my brother and I to continue respecting and thinking well of our dad. But I knew. He wasn't even subtle about it. I distinctly remember a few times when I'd pick up the phone in our house only to hear my dad already on the line engaging in flirty conversation with female strangers. All things considered, I gotta hand it to my mom for trying so hard to be the bigger person and not say anything that would turn us against our dad, even though he kinda deserved it. My dad thinks he is hiding his displeasure of my decision to not move back home after I graduate next semester. I love my dad and all but I just don't wanna go back home. They think I don't know about my dad's affair. I'm pretty sure I knew about for about 2 years before my mom did. Don't leave your email logged in on your kid's computer, especially if that's where your girlfriend is sending her nudes. That my grandparents, dad's parents, gave him $40,000 to help out during my parents' divorce and it all just sort of disappeared with nothing to show for it. This was in the late 80s so that amount would go a lot further than today. They have a sexual roleplay book in their nightstand, along with butt plugs and a dildo. That my dad had issues with being, manly for my mother following surgical removal of his prostate. My dad was in his 20s in the 60s and early 70s and claims he's never done any kind of recreational drug. Yeah. Okay dad. Throwaway cause my main account could identify me, and my dad was in his 20s. He served 9 years in prison for a felony burglary charge. He's completely reformed now and is a great person, but my parents never told me. When I was 12 I needed to take a picture of my birth certificate for a school project. So I went and got it from the box of important documents in my house. When I was looking for the birth certificate I found the prison discharge papers stating the crimes with my dad's name on it. My parents still don't know I know. It's been a few years now. My dad had a second child, a son with another woman when he had me but decided to stay with my mum. The guy is one of my best friends now. We are only 1 year apart. Mum's cancer spread to her liver. They told me the biopsy came back benign. One of her friends let it slip casually and I pretended I knew. Then retreated to a restroom to lose my mind. I know they are trying to protect me, but I hate all these lies. Don't know who to trust anymore. When I was a kid I found some documents in my mom's closet with her name, my name and some other man's name who isn't my dad. It was a long time ago, so I don't remember what they said, but I'm pretty sure I have a different father to who I grew up with, or maybe I was under the custody of someone else. I've never felt connected to my dad, and this would explain it. My mum told me when I was little and we'd play Scrabble, she'd put down bullet made up words and convinced me they were real, and I'd believe her. The double bullet is she still tries it on and denies it. I'm just old enough to call put her it. That my parents got married because my mom became pregnant with me. They divorced when I was 5, but as I try to learn more about them as people, they seem to be very guarded about their time together, and that period of life in general. All of my dad's affairs, which is hilarious because he is one of those extremely religious men. I'm 99% sure my dad cheated on my stepmom, and that's related to why they're divorcing this year. I'm pretty sure he's waiting to introduce his new girlfriend to me. I love him, and I'm proud of who he is, but I'm ashamed that he can't keep it in his pants. Late to the game here, so I don't expect this to get attention, but it feels nice to get it off my chest. I've always known about how disappointed my parents are in me. I was a decent kid, but ever since high school, I've started to get more and more depressed, and my mental health has really taken a toll on me since then. They say they're supportive of me and that they're proud of me when I get a D on a test cause I tried my best, but sometimes they accidentally leak out their disappointment. Like how my mom sometimes says she wishes how I wasn't such a burden. Or when I overheard my dad say to my mom how he always knew I was stupid. At the end of the day, I tried my best, gave it my 110%, and I push myself to not want to kill myself and to love myself more. But man, does it hurt to know that the only people I really want validation from don't really think highly of me and act like they're proud of me. I just want to make them truly proud, even fully knowing how toxic and unfair they can be to me. In my twisted head, I just can't move forward, and I'm stuck in this obsession in wanting to make my parents proud and happy when I know that they will never see me as anything but a disappointment. I am pretty sure my mum lied about not planning to get pregnant all 5 times. She has been on the pill for 3 decades. If I were on contraceptives that worked that bad, I would get something else instead. It's not like the pill is the only option. When I moved out of my mother's house and across the country, we had 3 cats. When I returned a couple months later, only 1 cat remained. She brushed off the disappearance of the other 2. This made me suspicious. I skimmed through emails she sent to her overseas boyfriend, whom she would no doubt confide in. Was she complicit in their disappearance? I learned that she took the 2 cats, drove out to the country, and deposited them on the side of the road. That was 15 years ago. She still believes that. I don't know. When I was 15, a girl who was in her early 20s reached out to me on Facebook. She sent me a long message saying that we were half sisters on my dad's side. I was surprised, as I'd never knew I had a sibling. When I asked my parents about it, my mom was visibly irritated, and my dad made me block her and told me to never talk to her again. I did for a few months, but naturally I got back in touch with her. I found out my dad cheated on my mom, and my half sister was the result. I never told my parents I knew. Me and my sister still keep in touch. That my dad is and has always been a functioning alcoholic who is now showing the early stages of dementia or Alzheimer's from long-term use of alcohol. I have no doubt my mother will eventually have to put him in a home. Not because she can take care of him, but he is incredibly social and would get really depressed if he just stayed at home. Me and my sister have talked about what will happen, but our parents are so much older than we are, in their 70s, and both of us are in our 20s. It would not surprise me if my mom has already picked out a place for him in the event he can no longer care for himself, which is crazy because he's physically really healthy, works out every day, runs marathons, just did a pretty extreme ski trip in Italy. So yeah, it's been kind of a looming secret that's becoming more apparent as time goes on. My father doesn't know that I know about his mistress, her name, where she lives, how long they've been together, that he bought her a house in 2009, etc. I've quietly been stalking her. I wondered originally if we'd become friendly, but she seems rather unpleasant. My mother doesn't know that I know she abandoned her first child when he was a toddler. Everyone else believes her story that he died of scarlet fever. She doesn't know that I found him using those DNA kits. I'll never let her know that he went on to become a lawyer and a judge in another country. She'll die not knowing. There are many more things. Things that could send both of them to prison for many reasons. Mafia involvement, supermarket price fixing, contract breaches, even simple shoplifting. My parents are quite rich but also truly horrible, and I have collected a great deal of blackmail material. Full stop. They think I have no clue how they lied to me my entire life about my biological father. Turns out he had no idea I existed. I found him this year at the age of 29. My biological mom was apparently forced by threatening by my grandmother, my adoptive mother, to keep the pregnancy to herself because my father is half black. I now know I am a quarter black. A secret my mother would die if she knew I knew. Keeping this a secret to myself is becoming quite difficult. Well, I'm gonna lighten the mood some from all the responses. I know the combination to the safe in their bedroom. My stepdad never told me the Wi-Fi password because he likes having control over everything, but I found it out after he put it in my laptop. How much my mom talks to her ex-husband and asks him to visit her. My mom thinks I don't know that she goes to therapy for anxiety and depression. My dad has a mistress. I honestly don't hate her. Said she's really cute and I'm kind of impressed by it. My mom doesn't know about it, and I don't plan on telling her either. I understand why he's doing it, and to be honest, he's my favorite. And yes, I know I'm a terrible child. No need to say it. There's birth certificates in my parents' safe for an older brother and an older sister. I have no idea who they are or what happened to them. My dad's second family in Indonesia.